going to talk about forward momentum and visual processing. Your child has cortical visual impairment. There is not the processing happening in their vision to even initiate the want for something. And in movement, the movement has a sequence, a movement combination, and it's like it's like thinking of a musical piece. Okay, there's a beginning and an end, but what begins that initiation of the song? What's the first note to begin it? And really, to even get to the first note, there has to be an intent to play the song. And so when you look at development, things like that, it's not like a baby thinks about development, but a baby is instilled with intents, with desires to see something and go get it. And that's how the development just happens. Well, when those key indicators for initiating movement aren't there, that's where you see a child struggle. So being here with your child with cortical visual impairment, their biggest indicator for initiating a movement process is in their vision. And what even catches a person's vision is the color, interpreting the colors, and then having the desire to go after them. And so I have a few videos here with this baby where you're watching her follow my hand. Now visually she's following it, but can you see her now wanting my hand? So now she's getting distracted with this hand, but let's come right here. We want to create visual intent in your child. And this is just what it's to show you what it looks like, what you should be looking for in your child, what you're working towards. Watch that vision. She has a want and a desire for it. Can you see that? And now she's going after it. She's trying to create a movement combination, use the different parts of her bodies to achieve visually what she wanted. Now, if visually she can't see this, it makes all the other movements of the body very slow. So not only are you getting visual impairment, you're also getting developmental impairment. And so I've been doing lots of exercises with her, with my vision cards here, and this dragon fruit tends to be the favorite for my kids.
Mom.
But when you're working with your child, go talk to Dad. When you're working with your child's vision, okay, first it's understanding what they can even process, but also too physically what they can do. So first we're going to start with the evaluation for visual processing, and right now we're just working with the color red. So you can see her looking at this and going away from it, being like, I don't know if I want that. Can you see the difference in her eyes of just looking at something versus wanting it? Did you see her go for that? I wanted it. And her body just created movements to go after the thing that she was looking at. And so this is what we are working on with your child as we're working on their visual processing and doing it through helping them understand and see the colors. First, just even wanting the color, wanting to move towards it. And that's why I work with, tell you to work with things of natural color, to work with things that are physical objects that can be seen, because those things naturally have basically silhouette lines, things like that, objects within them that are pulling the eye towards it. Okay, so vision isn't just looking out, but it's also seeing something, and now the two things attracting to each other. So you can, if you're watching her, you can see when she's suddenly attracted to the object and she goes after it. Look at her go after that. And she's thinking, now she's going after my hand. And so instead of her eyes going after it, she used her body parts to address the thing that she was looking at. But as far as what she's seeing here in the picture, I have it slightly out of reach. So now she's using her eyes to go towards it, and the rest of the body just follows. So what does this have to do with forward momentum? Forward momentum is the indicator to the body that movement is going to happen, that something is going to happen, and it needs to perform to do that. Well, with visual impairment, you can't even start that first indicator of movement to even want something, to have an intent. So that's what we're working on with your child, is to have a desire and an intent to go after the objects that they're looking at. And things with natural colors are more appealing to the eye, are more catching to the eye. Yes, you want to use lights, and yes, you want to use very saturated colors. You want to know you can do that. At the same time, you're going to have more success using natural colors, and you're going to develop your child's visual processing more successfully, because what's in the world around us is natural colors. Now, more and more, yes, we're seeing more saturated colors, but at the same time, saturated colors are not in nature as much. Those are more things of like to indicate danger, things like that, where more natural colors are just like yummy, like those are things I want to go after. They're just indicators to the body. That's all I'm going to explain right now to you. But think about that as you're working with your child. Can you that's what you're looking for in their eyes, is that hunger, is that want to go after it. And even just sometimes simply sitting with them and just going through the objects with them. Yeah, they may not look at them, but at the same time, these pictures that I have here are natural objects, and they are things that will also naturally attract the eye and make it so you don't have to use as much effort to get them to be attracted. And so like and subscribe to the channel so you can get more tips on how to work with your child in their visual processing, and just to be more successful with it, to have more resources for it. You can get the print off for these for free. You can get the book on Amazon. The link will be in the description, or you can just print off your own. And two, don't worry about the lines on your printer, because for your child that's visually impaired, they can't see that. That's actually a great indicator to you if your child's like, oh, there's something else on the paper. But if you scrunch your eyes at the object and try to see it, all the whiteness goes away. So don't worry too much about that, or you can, have a printer print off pictures for you. But these are just, you want to be working with natural reds, natural yellows. And right now I'm just working on red. I've got the yellow book coming out here soon to give you that resource. I have one of my other daughters who, she's not responding very well to red. So already right there, I know that I need to work with her visual processing for red. She is delayed a little bit of visual impairment, but more of the visual impairment is just due to muscular abnormalities and things like that. And so she's actually using her eye muscles to try and create movement, and so it's just throwing off the vision. She's using her muscles to try and create movement in the body, and so it's throwing off her vision. But she does not respond well to red, so that's a color I need to work with her. She responds really well to yellow. And so as I get all the colors out, it's giving you the tools and resource to really start evaluating what your child can see, what they can't see. Because even in the actual book, I go through a lot of different shades of red. These were fruits. And if you notice with the fruits, those are a lot brighter reds, a little bit more saturated, and those are appealing to the eye to be like, hey, come eat me. Sometimes, yes, it can be poison, so be careful with that for those that are aware of stuff like that. But this one's a little bit more dull. And two, I find that kids are very successful with animals. Okay, when you're working with that CVI and working on that visual processing, just the shapes of animals are very attractive to your child. And so at this point, we're just working on getting them to see and understand what they're seeing. This is also a great opportunity for you to be like, hey, raspberries, talk to them about what you're seeing, things like that. You'd be surprised what they are comprehending, and what they can start learning to comprehend if you just work with them that way. And I didn't put words on the pictures on purpose. I've done that before with past books, and it really doesn't allow you to work with your child in any language. And so this just takes out the language barrier of working with your child. You can do it in your native language and work with that. Thanks.